Prepare to delve into the gothic world of Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2. Remastered to rekindle the timeless battle between vengeance and destiny. In this review, we'll explore Raziel's journey from betrayed lieutenant to spectral avenger as he navigates a realm full of treachery, puzzles, and combat. Whether you're a longtime fan or a newcomer, let's uncover what these remastered classics have to offer and how they hold up in today's gaming landscape. The infamous vampire Kain leads clans of vampires beneath him, including Raziel, his firstborn lieutenant. After serving for over 1,000 years, Raziel and his brethren began to evolve with their leader, until Raziel had the honor of surpassing his lord. In a fit of rage, Kain punishes Raziel by tearing him apart and tossing him into the lake of the dead. Inside, Raziel experiences unspeakable pain and torture, eventually dying, or so it seemed, until Raziel's body rises, and he's confronted by a disembodied voice, setting him on a path of vengeance. Although the game received a mature rating, there weren't any extremely graphic things to watch out for. The first game had some blood splatter and the impaling of enemies with spears. The worst of it would be in the second game. Some of the deaths involved decapitation or being ripped apart. Although violent, it wasn't depicted as realistic due to the level of graphics. After returning to life, Raziel no longer craved blood. Instead, he required sustenance from souls. He also gained the ability to travel between the Spectral and Material Realms. In the Spectral Realm, the world warped around him, water no longer contained him, and he could not move objects. In contrast, while in the Material Realm, he was able to move blocks and climb walls, and if his body sustained enough damage, he would be thrown right back into the Spectral Realm. To transition from the Spectral to the Material Realm, he needed to be at full health and find a Spectral portal. Additionally, he could drop into the Spectral Realm whenever he wanted. When starting out in both games, Raziel has very few skills at his disposal. To unlock new abilities and items, you must travel the land, battle enemies, and solve puzzles. In the first game, you can explore off the beaten path to discover collectibles and new abilities for combat. However, the second game lacks this exploration aspect, offering a more linear experience that focuses on completing necessary tasks. The common formula for both games involves gaining something new to unlock areas that you've already passed by. Most of the gameplay in both games involved solving puzzles presented to Raziel. Some puzzles were relatively straightforward, but time-consuming, requiring you to push and stack blocks or place them in the perfect position. Others were more challenging, demanding careful exploration and experimentation before arriving at a solution. One of the most difficult aspects of the first game was determining where to go after achieving a significant milestone. Combat was present in both games, however, it was not the main focus of either. In both titles, you could fight using your claws or pick up weapons found in the environment, making combat somewhat easier. Additionally, you could throw weapons from a distance, sometimes killing an unsuspecting enemy with a single hit. While the first game featured significant bosses, these encounters were more like action-driven puzzles than a traditional boss fight, requiring you to figure out how to utilize the environment to defeat them. Although there were plenty of enemies and puzzles to solve, the games felt very much like a back-and-forth experience, similar to a Metroidvania-style game. The second game exhibits the quality even more than the first. While the first required some backtracking, it also branched out into new areas and had a fast travel system. In contrast, the second game primarily involved moving back and forth between the same locations with no fast travel. However, there were slight variations as you progressed through the game. I would love to hear your thoughts or questions about the game or my review, so please leave a message in the comments below. For now, let's move on to my final thoughts and ratings. This game is a remaster of titles I played when I was very young, but I struggled to progress due to the difficulty at that time. It was fascinating to revisit these games with an adult perspective and actually complete them. I was particularly impressed by the ability to switch between the old and new graphics seamlessly. While very little of the environment was remastered, most of the updated graphics were applied to the characters, making it fun to compare the two versions. The remastered graphics were significantly better than the originals, but I wouldn't describe them as jaw-droppingly amazing. The story in these games is absolutely phenomenal. I enjoyed every twist and turn as I followed Raziel in his journey, and there is a wealth of backstory and lore that compels me to explore the entire Legacy of Kain collection. While the story was captivating, the gameplay itself felt lackluster. The combat was straightforward and often felt more like a chore, leading me to avoid most combat situations when possible. Additionally, many of the puzzles seemed arbitrary and time-consuming. I did enjoy a few of them, but it was primarily the story that kept me engaged throughout the game. The remaster does include a variety of achievements to unlock, some of which are time-sensitive. For those aiming for a completionist badge, there is some replayability to obtain everything. However, other than that, I don't see much reason to replay the entire game, unless you want to relive an incredible story that you might have forgotten. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 were enjoyable experiences, complete with moments of frustration as I roamed the world trying to figure out where to go next. I admit, I did rely on a guide at times, and occasionally on the viewers watching my playthrough, but overall it was a good experience. It's hard to determine if newcomers would enjoy the game, however I am confident that fans of the original from 20 years ago would appreciate it. That said, the mechanics are rooted in an older style of gaming, and you definitely notice that while playing. Considering all these factors, let's dive into my final ratings for the game. The remastered visuals were good compared to the original, but they aren't outstanding. I'd give it a 3.
The scenes I discovered here were unambiguous.
I really loved the story. These games on their own are fantastic, and there's additional background from the games before and after. I'm giving the story a 5.
Are you the catalyst of these events, or the answer to them?
The gameplay feels quite dated by today's standards. It's very stiff and simplistic. I'll rate that a 2. There is some replayability for those seeking achievements, but not much beyond that. I'm also giving this a 2. Overall, it's a fun experience, though it comes with its share of frustrations and perplexing moments. I'm going to give it a 3. Giving the remasters an overall score of 3 out of 5, earning it a spot on the mid-shelf. An excellent choice for those familiar with the series and want to revisit a game from the past. And if you aren't, you might be interested in checking out what gaming used to be like 20 years ago. However, if you feel like this doesn't seem like the type of game you want to play, check out some of the other games I've reviewed. I would love to help you find that next great gaming experience.